create this project and this whole documentary.
Following the events of 7/7 and losing Benedetta, you must have been completely devastated. Like you said, you're very depressed. Yeah, very depressed. The support structure, did you have a support network around you, and how good was it? How effective was it?
I would say you always hurt the people most you love. My mum has been probably the biggest support around me, and she used to be the one that I was always snapping at, always sort of like losing my temper. Is not directed at her, but because she would stick around if I did have one of my off moods, if I was feeling down, she would just let me say what I had to, and no anger, nothing like that, no resentment. She understood it was a very, very hard time for me to go through. But yeah, my mum's helped me a lot through the whole period. I mean, her herself, she's been very upset too. Like Benedetta to her was like a daughter. But yes, you do find your friends will come to you as well. Even sometimes the best friend you'll have will be a total stranger who will listen, and suddenly you've got a new friend. Sometimes one of your oldest friends will be one of the people who doesn't want to listen. It's quite you learn a lot about people during a time like this.
Absolutely, I'm sure. So you had the support of friends and family. It must have been incredibly difficult for you to be working throughout this. I mean, how much time did you take off work?
I think it was about 6 or 7 weeks. They were actually quite supportive. They kept an eye, making sure I was okay, ensuring I was getting enough counselling. Once I did go back to work, things did go back to normal very quickly, though. I was expected to be performing almost like as if nothing's happened, which is fine because I don't think people can really comprehend what you've been through. But yeah, I would say that there are caring people within all these structures and uncaring people within these structures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you go? I mean, apart from getting the counselling from work, did you go anywhere else? Did you go to your GP? Did you go to any specific counselling bureaus or government agencies or anywhere, where else did you find help?
I did speak to my GP. They were good to speak to. However, as I was already getting counselling, there was no need for them to recommend me anywhere else. Through this, there was the July 7th Assistance Centre. They're very dedicated. They're still around, even nearly 3 years on. They're there to help people. And I would strongly recommend anyone who does want to speak to some trained professional or someone who understands where they're at, maybe not feel where they're at, but understand where they are at. They should be contacting them to just understand, to have someone to speak to.
Right, and I'm sure that's not that pertains not just to losing someone through an act of terrorism, but just to bereavement in general.
Yeah, of course, all these agencies are set up for bereavement. They are professionals within them. I know a lot of people will have trouble going to maybe a bereavement counsellor because they just feel no one's going to understand them. But at the end of the day, they are there for a reason, and that is because people, when they're in their most darkest despair, need to talk to people. They need to share their feelings, because just holding it within you is going to destroy you.
So Raj, back to the documentary now, Life Without Benedetta. I understand it's a bit of a unique documentary in that it's the first of its kind. How's this?
Through all my research, I've never found anything which explains a victim's life story of terrorism. I couldn't find anything that showed who they were, how they grew up, who their family are, who their friends are, what they were like, how they touched people's hearts, and how they ended up being in that place which ended up killing them through an act of terrorism, and how that has affected the people around them.
So this goes right from basically her birth through to her death.
Yes, it does. It shows that she was more than just a picture in the paper with a few lines next to her name, with a comma after her name saying her age.
So where can people hope to see this documentary? Where will it be seen?
It's currently in progress. It'll be ready for a screening on July 7th. There will be a media screening. Following that, it will be sold via, I don't know the marketing strategy exactly.
Well, you'll license it to various TV stations. Right,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Ideally, it will be shown via television, DVD, just for people to see actually what the real story about Benedetta is. I mean, the best as I could tell it with the time I've got.
So Life Without Benedetta, the documentary. For you, what are the key purposes for producing the documentary?
I want people to see what it means to really lose someone that you love in an act of terrorism or just mindless killing. I want people to actually see and appreciate who the person was, to get a feel for that person and actually understand she was an everyday person, in quotation marks, just like you and me. As a result of all this, I'm hoping it will have a positive effect on combating terrorism, people to really appreciate it, just for people to actually appreciate what they've seen and to take greater personal responsibility and being more vigilant and understanding what's going on in the world around them.
Being more aware.
More aware.
Yeah, making people more aware, because a lot of people out there, they are everyday people.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are everyday people, and, you know, like you said earlier, you never thought it was going to happen to you.
Not at all.
And, you know, it's just anything you see unusual or you're not sure about, you're not certain about, you know, you just don't know. Okay, if you're not sure, you don't know,
You
ask,
report it,
ask, ask questions, query it, report it. In fact, I was getting off a train the otthere day, and there's a rucksack. I was trying to get the attention of the driver. I didn't want to pull the emergency thing and make a big scene, but I was trying to get the attention of the driver, and then all the driver was doing was just saying, well, either you're getting on the train or you're getting off, can you get away from the doors? And I was waving at the driver down the other end of the train, and it wasn't until one of the guys from within the station came down, and he said, what's wrong? And I told him, look, there's a bag there. You know what I mean? And he said, well, pull the emergency. So I pulled the emergency thing, and, you know, I thought, yeah, that's someone's bag at first. But I said, well, Pete, you just don't know.
You don't want to look silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think most people are scared of.
Yeah. And then I thought, I mean, it wasn't even a case of not looking silly, but I thought to myself, you know, I don't want to make a big scene and it's nothing. But at the end of the day, I thought, well, what if it is something and you don't say anything?
Exactly.
So, you know, I took responsibility and I did what I had to do.
Exactly. That's the right thing to do. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils, isn't it?
Exactly.
I don't know which one I'd rather look silly.
Yeah.
than,
yeah.